one, I feel like our conversations now, well, at least for a long time, we're like, just get through this week, just get through this month. I feel like we kept having the same conversations in different capacities because I wasn't letting go of anything or willing to change anything for a while. And now I feel like our conversations are more like, all right, so in 6 months, in a year, this is where we're building to, where like we can talk about growth because I'm not on this hamster wheel. Whereas before it was like, man, I'll try to look at that in the next month, or think about it or whatever. So it's more fun to think future minded or growth minded than it is just continually like, just get through today, just get through this week. If I have time Saturday to look at it, I will. And now I'm like, no, this is what we're doing.
Hi, I'm Kelly Berry, VP of Operations here at Fitness Revolution, and at FR, we empower fitness business owners to build and grow profitable businesses that they are passionate about. And we do that through a combination of our coaching process, our content, and our proprietary fitness business alignment system. And we have now been doing that as of July for 18 years. So we started in 2005, so quite a long time. What's working now is our content series where we are surfacing and sharing what's working right now that our community at FR is having success with and that we feel like others would benefit from hearing about. So today I'm going to talk with Anna Woods from sheSTRENGTH. So welcome, Anna. And a lot about Anna. She's been doing this now for 20 years. So what I'm about to say is really just a snapshot of her many accomplishments, but she has a degree in exercise science. She's ACE certified. She's also a biomechanical exercise specialist. She's CrossFit level 1. She's a DNS running weight training exercise 1. Functional aging specialist. She was the 2017 PFP Personal Trainer of the Year finalist. She's been a 2-time Idea World Personal Trainer of the Year nominee, 2022 and 2023. And she's the CEO of sheSTRENGTH. And sheSTRENGTH is an online and in-person fitness and training program. She mostly trains, which we'll get into this a little bit more when we're talking about it, mostly trains women, athletes, and special needs population. She does that out of her barn gym at her home in Bueller, Kansas, and she also trains in a couple other local communities in Kansas, including Wichita. She's a strength and conditioning coach for a local junior college softball team. She runs a weight program for the local high school, and she's also the author of a book and CEU course called Adaptive Fitness Exercise Programming. And that program trains coaches, teachers, and trainers how to train athletes with special needs. Did I miss anything? She's also a mom. She has 3 kids. Yeah, she does it all. Anything you want to add?
No, that sounds great.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think it's kind of a good segue into our topic because you do a lot and you have done a lot throughout your career. And that's one thing I'll mention is I work with Anna one-on-one as her coach. And so this topic that we're about to talk about is something that her and I have had a lot of conversations about. And it's about saying no, because Anna can do really anything. But Anna has a vision for her business and what she wants to be doing. And you can't say yes to everything and continue to move towards that. So, I guess, Anna, just tell me a little bit about most of the work that we've done on this has been over the past year. I would say probably like last fall and this spring has been when you've really embraced saying no. So just kind of tell me a little bit about what were things like, what's changed, and what are some of the benefits that you've seen?
Yeah. So I've always had kind of the same business model of training women, but I've never really narrowed that down even smaller. So I've always helped moms with weight loss, middle-aged women wanting to get back into strength training, moms of the girls that I train. And so then I'd also train the girls and then the college athletes and then the clients with special needs. And so people would come and be like, so what is your business or who do you train? And it would take me 10 minutes to try to put an explanation together on that. But I was also really comfortable doing that and felt like I had been successful doing that up until then. But is also experiencing just frustration, feeling like I was doing a lot of things good, but not a few things great. And I wanted to start focusing more on not feeling so spread thin and just getting by and skimming over things. I wanted to do things much more focused and really well. My family also played a factor in that. My son has Down syndrome. And so as he's gotten a little bit older, his needs have gotten higher. Therefore, needing the business model of training out of my gym started my home because of him. And now as we've moved into more needs, my need to be more available to him, even outside of the home now, became a lot more. And then also I have a senior in high school. So a lot of things go into the factors of like, okay, I need to start cutting back. What's that going to look like? It's insanely scary, and I want to control everything and hang on to everything. So when that had been my comfort zone and business model for so long, it was extremely difficult at first. But we had a lot of conversations about goals, who you felt like, I know you challenged me to think about who I could best help, who I could most authentically give to, because that's a huge value for me, is remaining authentic. And then family-wise, what that looked like to still be available, what time in the evenings was my big thing. It was not having to be gone or train in my gym every evening and miss a lot of things with my kids. So once we started narrowing those down, a lot of my decision revolved around training the populations that my kids are involved in so that I can spend time with my kids and also work. So helping at the high school, helping at the college, teaching my kids and their friends in my gym. So we narrowed down my focus to basically training female athletes, basically ages 9 to 19, I guess, in special populations. So closing down any other options to have weight loss consults, middle-aged women group training classes, like I cut all of that and basically cut those hours, eliminated those options, and just started saying no to those things. If anything that came to me did not fit in those two categories, then I said no. And the first few was really, really difficult. I remember I was like, okay, what about this? How about one more? But it got easier the more I said no, because it simplified a lot of things for me, mental clarity as well as time. And it became easier to be like, well, nope, it doesn't fit in these two categories. I'll refer you here, or I can't help you. So I got my evenings back for the most part. And I've been able to simplify and perfect or improve on perfecting the services that I offered to those two populations. And as a result, like even since I made the official cut of my classes in the spring, and this is the biggest summer of kids classes I've ever had, the biggest summer of softball athletes I've ever had. And I've started 2 new contracts with special population providers, basically day service providers. So in saying no and legitimizing the 2 areas that I wanted to train in, I've been able to basically double down on business to where now I'm having to narrow down even more in those 2 areas and figure out what I want to do specifically in those 2 areas. So while it was scary and it seemed like I was going to lose all my business in my mind, it was actually the opposite. So
in saying no to the things that like weren't serving you, but you kind of had held on to for a long time, it just opened up space and opportunity for these other things. And I think one thing, well, not one thing, but 3 things I want to mention that I think are really important is now, after saying no to a lot of things, you are now doing more of what you love. You have a better work-life balance than you've had in a long time. I know for a while there, you were showing up to meetings just every time, like overwhelmed. But, you mentioned it, you're more focused. So your work-life balance is much healthier. And the third thing, which I think is probably one of the best benefits, and maybe one of the reasons that this was also scary, like your revenue is higher now. You've had 3 months in this year where you've PR'd, so you've had personal records and gross revenue. So, those are 3 very significant like benefits from saying no. So although it's scary to do it up front, the benefit, which, it wouldn't have been as scary if you knew all those things were going to happen from the beginning. But they did. So I guess talk to me a little bit. What, I know like revenue is probably one of the biggest reasons that saying no is scary, but what are some of the other reasons? It's a hard no to say.
Because to me, it's not saying no to business. It's saying no to friends, clients that have become like family. Some of these clients that I am turning down now or turning away, I've literally seen my kids grow up 8 years, 10 years. And so all of a sudden now it's like I have to tell a family member that I can't see them anymore, So the relational part was probably the other biggest piece, because I knew it was going to be very difficult from an emotional standpoint to not see them every day, for the kids to not see them every day, because my kids also look forward to seeing them as much as the other way around. So that was probably the second biggest, was like, man, I'm having to tell people I care about a lot that I can't help them anymore. And then we live in a rural area. So the second piece was I didn't have a lot of places to refer people onto. Like there isn't 4 gyms on a street corner around here. There's like one every 30 miles or 40 miles. And so also having to then be like, and I don't know what to tell you to do. Like now I don't have anywhere to send you beyond, you've been training with me for 8 years. You do have a background knowledge. You could do this on your own. And that's why I had the app to then continue on with online if needed. But those are probably the 2 biggest ones. There's nowhere to refer or nowhere that is similar to what my style of coaching. And then the relational piece was difficult. So.
Yep. Yeah. I know we have had several conversations where you've come back and you've been like, I think I might be able to do this if I squeeze these people into this time frame, and I think that's, you mentioned earlier that, a value that you have is like helping people and being authentic. And I think, those things have continued to shine through, but I think, and you can probably speak to this a little bit too. I think your vision now is probably so much clearer in what you want to do and how you want to get there than it was when you had so many things on your plate that you didn't really know like which way to go, because there were literally so many options.
Yeah. So, and I have more energy. I'm going to have more energy to give to those people. They're not as draining. Like, I remember one of the questions you asked me was like, well, then what groups do you train? Do you walk away feeling energized? And what group do you train where you walk away feeling almost dreading or fatigued? And so that was a big one for me, because the 2 groups I'm training now, I walk away always feeling energized for the most part, like, and excited to see them. And so I feel like the whole energy level of my training, my passion for training them, and my wanting to help them by helping myself get better or be a better trainer emotionally, personally, whatever, as raise the bar on all of it. So as a result, my clients are getting better results. My youth athletes are doing better on the field or court. Or the caretakers are noticing that the clients I'm working with in the special pops, like, are being able to stay independent longer, or whatever that might be. The whole bar is raised, I guess, because of that. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that some of those things I would notice as quickly. Like, I think I remember when I was like, all right, I'm closing down my gym to any of these options. I remember thinking, oh my God, it's going to be a year. I'm going to give myself a year before I'm going to be able to make this up, my losses from this. But I mean, maybe 3 months probably. And like you said, in those 2 of those months, I've had the highest income I've had ever in a month. So when you do better work, I guess people notice. You get more referrals, more word of mouth. People want to stay with you longer, and the energy is just there that attracts people to it. Yeah. So, and I have a more clear plan when I tell people, because I think some people would get lost in well, then I do this, and then I do this, and then, almost like a turnoff, like, okay, well, you don't specialize in anything, so not what we're looking for.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And I mean, you come to your coaching sessions like much more rested, much more focused. Yeah. I mean, I remember it was probably last fall, we looked at your schedule, we blocked time, you weren't going to fill it. And, I remember checking in, like, how's it going? And you're like, well, I've read 10 books, I've taken a million walks. You're like, I don't know what to do with all this time. And I know at first it was tough
Yeah.
transition.
Yeah. Kind of thrive off being busy, or at least that was the litmus test for me of success was I need to be doing something every hour of the day, 12 to 16 hours a day. That's the only way I was going to keep building my business. But like yesterday, well, my mornings start earlier in the summer because of the kids, but like 5:30, and then I'm done at like 2 for the most part. And it's like, now what? you know, but it's also given me a chance to work in my business more than always working outside of it. So being able to plan ahead a little better and be more structured and legitimizing the parts of my business that we've been talking about, trying to legitimize, I guess. So
Yeah, definitely. And, I think right now we're working on like even a new opportunity that's in line with, the things that you're working towards. And I think had this opportunity shown up for you 6 months or a year ago, there would have been no time to think about it.
Yeah.
Really no way to figure out how to make it work. So, I just think that this is indicative of the way that things are going to continue to go when you stay focused and, just really create a plan and then stick to it.
Yeah. Because the nice thing about like this opportunity is I don't have to think about peeling back or closing down or getting rid of anything because I'm already streamlined to what is manageable. So this would just fit right into that opportunity. Whereas like you said, if this would have been last fall, I'd have been like, oh man, okay, I'm going to have to cut this. I'm going to have to cut this. I'm going to have to tell them. Like there would have been a lot more steps before I could even consider another opportunity. Whereas now it's like I have the availability mentally and physically to possibly take on a different capacity. So
exactly. And how do you, I guess, just kind of more emotionally, like how do you feel about your business now compared to like your business even a year ago?
It's more fun. I'll say that. Like, it still doesn't make sense to me because like I said, for so many years, and I think most trainers, you exchange dollars for hours. And so if I'm not working, I'm not making money. That's been my mindset for a million years. And so to go in and do my books each week and see that I'm still continually growing, even though I've cut my hours way back, it's a weird, I guess would be the best word for me right now to be like, how is this happening? But it is. So it can be done, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. And, I think there were a lot of things that you had worked really hard to lay the foundation for and put in the work to get to where, you could go all in on these areas. So it's not, it's not at all to discount like what you had done in the past. It's more so to highlight I guess, where you can expand into when you like focus and go all in on what you've decided. So it's been awesome to watch. I know you've made some really hard decisions and you've stuck to some things, I know, and you've trusted, which has been a huge part of it. Trusted when probably you didn't really want to, but you did it. But you did it, and it's awesome. So,
well, and I feel like our conversations now, well, at least for a long time, we're like, just get through this week, just get through this month. I feel like we kept having the same conversations in different capacities because I wasn't letting go of anything or willing to change anything for a while. And now I feel like our conversations are more like, all right, so in 6 months, in a year, this is where we're building to, where we're like, we can talk about growth because I'm not on this hamster wheel, whereas before it was like, man, I'll try to look at that in the next month, or think about it or whatever. So it's more fun to think future minded or growth minded than it is just continually like, just get through today, just get through this week. If I have time Saturday to look at it, I will. Like, and now I'm like, no, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. I've already written it out. Like, organized.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, I think there's so many like principles that apply with training and nutrition that apply to business, but you gotta put in the work and you gotta keep your commitments and you'll see the results over time. So Awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. It's been inspiring, and I'm proud of
Well,
you.
thanks.
So,
I
and
know, well, having accountability is a huge piece, kind of like you said, because I
mhm,
don't know if I was trying to do this on my own, I would have been able to do some of those things. But you were like, all right, let's put it in place. I know, you encouraged me, but also gave me like tough love of like, this is what has to happen to take the next step. And so having that combination, I think was also huge because like I said, I think I'd probably still be spinning my wheels a little bit too scared to make that next step had I not had accountability and tough love every month when
mhm.
we talk
Yeah.
to make those decisions. So that was also a piece I don't want to discount either. But
Well, great. Thank
yeah,
you. Yep. I mean, uh, we think everybody needs a coach, and it's for the reasons that you just said.
yeah,
A lot of this stuff is scary. You need,
yeah,
encouragement. You need someone to hold you accountable to doing the things that have been agreed upon and decided.
yeah,
Um, and I think like a good coaching relationship has that balance of trust and also commitment to the plan on
yeah,
both of our parts. And
yeah.
I think that you and I work together really well like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been great to see. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what we talked about before. Like when you've been in the industry as long as I have, I find myself always being the one to give info, to help. And so it's always refreshing to get on and be like, literally have someone tell me what to do for a change. Like I know some people don't like that. I like it because I'm like, thank you. I'm tired of doing all the thinking and planning. Like it's nice to have expertise and experience speaking to me, like you said, as a coach.
hmm
Because just sometimes it's tiring to be the person making all the decisions all the time. So
Yeah. Yep. There is a lot of collaboration though. So,
mhm.
you got to have buy-in to the plan,
Yeah,
and the will to get it done. And you've done that 100%. So
yeah.
it's been awesome.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. And I mean, the exciting part, I think, is like we're where we are, but we have so far to go and
Yeah,
so far we can go, It's not
yeah,
like, well, we still have so far to go. It's like the opportunities are almost endless for you.
yeah,
And that's really exciting. So
yeah.
lots of work left to be done.
Yes. It's a
Yeah.
good feeling, not a
Yes.
dreadful feeling anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate your time and everything. Yeah, this was great. I think a lot of people will find it valuable and hopefully encouraging
Yeah,
to make those hard decisions and know that they can work out, and when they're well thought out and aligned with what you want to be doing, it'll be in the best interest of you and the business. So
yeah. No, I agree.
yeah,
Make the
awesome.
leap. Make the leap.
Make the leap. Awesome. Thanks, Anna. It's good
Yeah,
talking to you.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.